You'll need to move your bag. And your feet. Maya Turner didn't raise her voice. In first class, you didn't need to. The woman in the seat ahead of her, a pale-skinned, heavy-set figure in a beige cardigan, turned slowly, as though someone had just questioned her right to breathe this air. She smiled without warmth. "Oh, sweetie, this is my space. Why don't you ask the flight attendant to find you another seat?" Maya's hand stayed folded in her lap. Her dark hair was swept into a low bun, her glasses catching the soft overhead light. She didn't blink. The canvas tote blocking her seat cushion was the size of a carry-on, stuffed so full the zipper strained. And then there was the foot, barely inside a sandal, resting on her armrest, toes tapping against the plastic. Around them, passengers glanced, then looked away. A man in a suit coughed into his fist. The low hum of the cabin filled the silence that followed. Maya's voice was calm, almost polite. "I'm asking you once." The woman leaned back far enough for her head to hover over Maya's seat, her perfume mixing with the recycled air. She spoke just loud enough for the nearby rows to hear. "People like you shouldn't be in first class." The words slid into the space between them like a blade. Maya adjusted her glasses, her eyes lifting, not at the woman, but at the small black dome above the overhead bin. The security camera. She didn't smile. She didn't frown. She just said, "Noted." The woman, Patricia Rowell, if Maya's memory served, shifted in her seat, not to make room, but to close the gap even more. The canvas tote now pressed against Maya's hip, heavy enough to dig into her thigh. "Careful," Patricia said, stretching her foot higher onto the armrest. "Wouldn't want my bag to get dirty." A flight attendant approached, her lipstick smile tight but professional. "Is everything okay here, ladies?" Patricia didn't miss a beat. "She's the problem," she said, pointing a manicured finger at Maya. "Ever since I sat down, she's been giving me looks and making me uncomfortable." The attendant's eyes flicked between them. She knew the truth, Maya could read it in the hesitation, but truth had a way of bending in favor of the loudest voice. "I just asked her to keep her things in her own space," Maya said evenly. Patricia leaned back, voice dripping sugar. "Some people don't understand boundaries. Or the rules." That last word hung in the air, heavier than the tote bag. Patricia said, "Rules," the way an HOA president would, as if she was the law. Maya kept her tone level. "The rules say your belongings go under the seat in front of you." Patricia's smile faltered for a fraction of a second, then returned sharper. "And I say." She stopped when she noticed Maya wasn't looking at her anymore, but just over her shoulder, toward the aisle. Someone was coming down from the cockpit. Captain Daniel Brooks moved with the kind of authority that made passengers instinctively straighten in their seats. His navy jacket was crisp, silver bars gleaming under the cabin lights. "Is there a problem here?" His voice was steady, but it carried just enough weight to hush the nearby rows. Patricia Rowell pivoted in her seat, the beige cardigan slipping off one shoulder. "Yes, there is. This woman has been aggressive toward me since I boarded. I feel unsafe." Maya didn't flinch. "Captain, I'd like you to review the cabin security footage from the last 15 minutes. A murmur rippled through the rows. Patricia laughed softly, shaking her head. "Oh, please, what footage?" From behind the captain, the lead flight attendant, Carla, stepped forward with a slim tablet. Brooks took it, his eyes never leaving Patricia as he tapped the screen. The footage played in silence, Patricia shoving her tote across the seat line, propping her foot on Maya's armrest, leaning in close to whisper something in her ear. Brooks paused the video, rewound, and turned on the audio. The cabin speakers carried Patricia's voice clearly, "People like you shouldn't be in first class." Several passengers shifted uncomfortably. Someone lowered their phone. Patricia's cheeks flushed. Brooks closed the tablet. "Mrs. Rowell, please collect your belongings." Patricia's voice pitched higher. "You can't just." But the captain was already glancing toward the forward door. TSA officers are waiting at the gate. Patricia's eyes darted from the captain to the aisle, as if searching for an ally. No one met her gaze. The phones that had been raised earlier were now resting in laps. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "You don't know who I am." Maya rose slowly from her seat, smoothing the front of her navy blouse. "Actually," she said, "I do." For the first time, Patricia's bravado wavered. "Excuse me." Maya reached into her leather tote, pulling out a slim black wallet. With one smooth motion, she flipped it open, the gold lettering catching the overhead light, "Special Agent, Federal Bureau of Investigation." A sharp intake of breath came from somewhere in row 18. "You've been under investigation for months, Mrs. Rowell," Maya continued, her tone still calm. "Today, you made it a lot easier for us to finish the job." Patricia's mouth opened, but no words came out. Captain Brooks stepped slightly aside, giving Maya the space. The lead flight attendant moved forward, ready to escort Patricia out. "This is harassment." Patricia blurted, louder now, as if volume could rebuild the wall crumbling around her. "No," Maya said evenly, sliding her credentials back into her tote. "This is accountability." The aisle seemed to stretch forever as Patricia was guided toward the front of the plane, her canvas tote clutched like a shield. The forward door stood open, sunlight spilling in from the jet bridge. Two TSA officers waited just beyond the threshold, their presence calm but unmistakable. Patricia Rowell hesitated at the doorway, looking over her shoulder one last time, as if someone, anyone, might speak up for her. No one did. The cabin stayed still. Captain Brooks handed her the slim tote she'd left behind. "You'll need this," he said evenly. She took it without a word. The officers guided her into the brightness, and then she was gone. Brooks turned back to the cabin. "Thank you for your patience, folks. We'll be underway shortly." His voice was steady, but his eyes found Maya's for half a second, an unspoken acknowledgement. Maya sat down again, fastening her seatbelt. The hum of the air system returned, filling the space where confrontation had been. A passenger across the aisle leaned forward slightly. "You handled that well," he murmured. Maya offered a faint smile. "Just making sure the next person doesn't have to buy a ticket to be treated like a human being." Outside, ground crew signaled the plane back from the gate. The engines whined to life, a low, steady roar. No applause. No cheers. But the silence that settled over the cabin wasn't the cold kind. It was the kind that listened.